Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I mentioned the other day that I would finally get around to making a how I came to Islam video, and here it is. My first experiences with Islam were as an undergraduate. I was studying anthropology and I took some religion courses, and of course ended up learning about Islam that way. And while I was an undergrad, my interest in Islam was mainly academic. I wrote papers, read different books and whatnot, and learned basically the core values and the core beliefs of Islam. For most of the past 10 years, my interests have been largely academic. But all of that was back when I was an undergrad, which was quite a few years ago. Then it was about a year ago that my academic interest in Islam turned into something more than academic. I read this book, a work of fiction, and I thought that it was absolutely amazing. And I then went out and bought 3 more of his books. I then read his biography. So that just sort of inspired me to read more and learn more about Islam. As far as religion is concerned, I've never had religion in my life. My mother's Catholic and my father is Protestant, and I've never seen either of them go to church. It was basically, Christmas was about Santa Claus, and Easter was about the Easter Bunny. It was never about Christianity or Jesus or God or religion or anything like that. And because my parents basically had different religions and didn't actually practice, they always felt that it was up to me and my sister to pick our own religions. We were never baptized or christened or anything like that, and they had always said that it's a personal choice, and as you get older you'll realize that there's a place in your life for religion, and you'll choose on your own then. I spent most of my adolescence and early 20s being a raging atheist. I just found it hysterical. There is no man up in the clouds who waved his little magic finger and created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, 7 days. It's not possible. It's complete and utter just garbage. And there was always something missing, of course. There's, you can't deny the fact that I was always missing something. I suffered from just ridiculous depression through my adolescence and my early 20s, self-injury and suicide attempts and hospitalizations, and I was very, very unhappy. After going through years of rigmarole with doctors and medications and all of that jazz, and still being miserable all of the time, I started actually going for acupuncture to treat my depression. And after years and years of feeling miserable, after literally the first treatment, I felt better than I had in years. I couldn't believe how amazing I felt. I was sleeping better, and I had more energy, and I just wasn't all just bleh and just yuck all the time, and it was awesome. So I started to read about Chinese medicine and acupuncture. Now at this point I was working full-time at a job that I liked, but I didn't really enjoy. I knew that I wanted to go back to school. I knew that what I was doing was not what I wanted to do with my life. So I was kind of at a point where I was kind of frustrated and overwhelmed, and just I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I was lying on the table one day getting an acupuncture treatment, and I had all of the needles in, and I was just kind of thinking, what am I going to do, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? And then it occurred to me, oh my god, I could totally do this. So within a few months, I had packed my bags up in Rhode Island, and I moved back to Florida, where I am now, to go to school to become an acupuncturist. In school, learning about Chinese medicine, learning about energy, learning about qi, learning about all of this stuff, it's sort of, I don't understand, like, you to be an acupuncturist, you sort of almost have to be open-minded, because you're doing something that's so not mainstream, that's something that's so just organic, and, you know, it's not something that can be quantified by Western science, so you have to be really, really open-minded to what you're doing, and to the world around you. And it was right around that, maybe a little bit before I got back into school, that I thought, okay, well, maybe there is something out there more powerful than people. Who am I to question? I think at this point, having been in school and learning to open my mind, yet at the same time having that that sort of idea where, like, there has to be a reason, there needs to be a cause. Like, I couldn't just, even though I had opened my mind to the possibility that there was something out there, I still needed some sort of, I need something solid. It couldn't just be something very, like, that didn't have any real, I don't want to say fact, but anything, I needed something solid. And as I mentioned about a year ago, I had started to read more about Islam, and it meant something to me this time, as opposed to all of the other times when reading about Islam was just academic. The thing that really got me, well, there are actually two things that really got me. The first thing was the concept of God in Islam. In Christianity, which, even though I wasn't raised Christian, was basically the, you know, the upbringing that I had. In Christianity, you know, people are, there's the idea that people are created in God's image. So God looks like this. God looks like a person. And that just never felt right to me. Like, that almost feels like worshiping a person, which it just didn't feel right. I like that in Islam, you know, God just is. We don't really know if he's a he or a she, or, you know, we assume, I guess, that she has eyes and a mouth, and my cat's moving the computer, and all of those things, but God just sort of is. It's not, the idea of God just being something greater than we're even capable of comprehending, was appealing to me, as opposed to the idea with Christianity where we're created in God's image. The second thing was basically the science in the Quran. There's all of this stuff about the world, and about people, and the environment, and all of this stuff in the Quran about that's basically been, like, scientifically proven. You know, I mean, back in the 600s, when the Quran was given to Muhammad, peace be upon him, we of course didn't know any of this science, and within the past 150 years, there's been so much of it there's been so much of it proven about how the way, stop hitting the camera, Miss Kitty, the way that the world is formed, the way the mountains are formed, the way that the clouds and the sky and the rivers and the oceans, and the way that, you know, babies are formed, you know, people are formed in the womb. All of that stuff being given by God to Muhammad, peace be upon him, 1400 some odd years ago, way before scientifically we could prove any of those things, was sort of like, how did he know? Miss Kitty, stop moving the computer. How did they know? How did Prophet Muhammad know? There's no way that just a man could have known all of these things, that it was, you know, almost 1500 years until they were proven scientifically. It's really this whole thing, this whole journey, this whole passage, this whole path or whatever, has been very difficult for me, not because what I'm finding is Islam, and in today's society to be just, you know, like a 30-something white girl in America, you know, they don't convert to Islam very often. Islam, unfortunately, has a horrible stigma in this country. People are just completely ignorant. My struggle, my confusion, my staying up at night thinking about it, all of that stuff, it's not so much the fact that I found Islam, it's the fact that I found God at all, because it's not something that I ever in a million years would have thought would have happened. Because, you know, a couple of years ago, that would have been just an absolutely laughable concept. Like, I would never believe in something like that. But here I am. It's May now, May of 2011, and last December, beginning of December, so it's been almost 6 months, I started going to the new Muslim classes at the mosque that's, I don't know, it's about 45 minutes from my house. So I go there on once a week to learn Islam and to study, and I take a hadith class, and I actually attend two different mosques because I'm still searching for answers. I'm not completely sure that the mosque that I go to is the right place. They're wonderful people. The people that I've met have been awesome and kind and really, really helpful at both mosques. But I still have a lot of questions, and I just, I'm really just still searching for answers. The way that I describe it is that I know that I'm on the right path, but right now, in this like present day, I don't feel that I'm in the right place. I think that I'm still searching for answers that I haven't gotten. I try to find those answers on my own through the Quran and the Hadith, and I keep reading. I know that I am Muslim. I know that Islam is the right way, is the right path, and I'm going to keep following it. Hopefully someday I'll get answers to the questions that I have. I know that I'm on the right path and that I'm headed in the right direction. So, there you go. That's basically it. That's my story. Thanks for listening. Assalamu alaikum.